Guys, so Franz Cronje, who is actually this, really brilliant analyst that Thabo Mbeki always references, actually still also believes in the power of the leadership of Mckenzie. And, in this light of this whole green shift to energy where, the Western nations are actually mandating that South Africa should shift to a green, set of energy and try to shift away from coal. He's actually arguing that that transition has to be really gradual because if South Africa decides to shift away today immediately from the coal-powered base for Eskom to the green energy, wind and solar and all that, it would actually cause a lot of damage, a lot of much more impoverishment of an already ailing economy because that shift has to be gradual. And he actually thinks that the Germans have been disrespectful to South Africans and that a leader like Mckenzie would not tolerate that kind of disrespect from the Germans going forward. Let's quickly listen to how Franz Cronje breaks down the whole difficulty with South Africa going from a coal-based energy production to a green transition within a short time, and I'll be back for a really short analysis.
The Western moralizing towards Africa. The what I thought this graceful comment was of some Germans who were recently in South Africa, who said that they were being very patient with South Africa, not turning off its coal-fired power. Now that statement is made in the face of a reality where you have 15 million black South Africans unemployed, with no prospect of ever improving their lives if we do not develop an efficient sort of electrical grid. And then you come from Europe and stand here and lecture. And I mentioned to some ANC people, and they shrugged and sort of didn't do much. And the DA is halfway down this rabbit hole of this greenery, which as a consequence will condemn 15 or 20 million black South Africans to a perpetual future of poverty. The only person who seems sort of animated about these things is sort of Mckenzie, who, to his very great credit, immediately sees the problem. And I actually put it to him that if he were foreign minister, you should find these Germans, escort them to the airport, put them on an aircraft, send them back to wherever they came from, and tell them they can return to South Africa when they are able to show some respect for the country and what it is. So the offer that America can make to whoever runs South Africa, the ANC to a very large extent, is that we have the resources, given your tiny economy, a fraction of a percentage point of global GDP, weak exchange. We have the ability to make you very, very successful, not by doling out AIDS medication to ill Africans, which is another subject we can talk about, but through, as you say, transactionally providing the trade, the support, the fixed investment, etc., to make you highly, highly successful. But that if you do not wish to take advantage of that, libido, and not even just as far as libido, Namibia is looking great. A press freedom ranking, when I last looked, that was better than Canada's. An offshore oil find that might be the largest such find in all of history. A small population, no radicalism, and an electoral position in which SWAPO seems perhaps vulnerable to what has happened in Mozambique, Botswana. Well, Mozambique, politically volatile. Botswana, change of administration. The winds of change, Alec, blowing across Southern Africa. Point one, the GNU's the greatest, and we're very, very fortunate that we achieved that result 100 and something days ago. Because if we hadn't, at that moment, had it been its extreme alternative, ANC, MK, EFF, the consequences would have been, I think, more severe than many people could easily believe. The currency could have moved very far away from anything that anyone who watches such things would think possible. We could finally have jettisoned the last of the pragmatists on fiscal management in the ANC, the minister and his treasury colleagues. We're printing money, we're having all sorts of inflation. You then get this American foreign policy lineup under Trump, we'd have been in horrible trouble. So that, it's great, and what a great achievement for the people who put it together. Second point, which doesn't contradict the first one, is I don't know if it will survive. Our conclusion of what we call, in fact, in a note this morning, painstaking interviews over many weeks, is that opposition, even resentment towards the GNU within the ANC is significant. Outside of what we call the cabinet clique, the little comfortable circle, cabinet ministers. Also significant, just sticking with the ANC, is that the anti-GNU rebels in Gauteng have held up. And more than that, they have made ground in deposing the DA mayor of Tshwane and replacing him with the EFF-MK ANC coalition, Herman Mashaba coalition as well. That's important. Third view on the ANC is that Mr. Ramaphosa seems more animated about the G20 and his chairmanship of that, which is pending, and the horizon that presents to his political career, than he is with domestic matters here. And we therefore don't think that the ANC will do much or go to great lengths to strengthen the GNU where it comes under pressure. Now, on the DA side, we think there's a similar phenomenon. Outside of the cabinet clique, there are concerns. And we think those concerns can now grow. And there are further concerns that whereas some cabinet ministers have been very successful, others have not. And in die mense praat, which is an Afrikaans sort of way of saying people are starting to talk, that there's a serious problem in the caliber of decisions and policies that are being advocated in some DA portfolios. So on both sides, there's pressures, and the honeymoon period is over, let's say that.
Yeah, so as you'd hear, it's really tricky how, Mckenzie would actually fight in all this realm. To be a president of a nation is really tough. You see, you have to think of the economic wing, you have to think of the, in the area of sports, social cohesion, unity, electricity, power. It's really tough. And, how Mckenzie might be able to evolve in that kind of position is actually something. But anyway, as a South African leader as well, Franz Cronje is really tricky and interesting for me that Franz Cronje also sees the disrespect of the West, also him being what many would call a white South African, so to speak, or probably, a proponent of Western ideals, you see. He's also not going with the whole, what he calls a disrespect from the Germans. The Germans are actually sort of like really bullish on this whole thing with transitioning into a green future. You see, I think the EU has a really major investment in this whole push, and that South Africa should actually be at the forefront to push for the transition from coal to green energy. And Franz Cronje doesn't think that that's really possible on the short term. So he thinks that the Germans have actually been Western nations have actually been disrespectful to South Africans, and that Mckenzie is actually that kind of leader who won't tolerate that disrespect, but with sensible negotiations push his case forward. So for me, I think it's really interesting that he actually could say that, and how many of the business community in South Africa really see Mckenzie as a leader, so to speak, in this light. But I don't know, what do you think about Franz Cronje's speech here? I don't really have much to say about him, but I know that I really enjoy his analysis of South Africa and the world. But share your thoughts in the comments.